Greetings and welcome to episode 12 of This Week I'm Learning, the podcast where the topics are only lightly researched and the fake internet points don't matter.
Hey,
Today is Saturday,
they matter.
August 29th. To someone I'm sure they do.
It's way too
Today
true.
is Saturday, August 29th, 2020, and we have another special episode in store for you today. We're all a little tired and a little wired, but I am your host, Brandon Vader, also known as Dracanis on the gaming forums. I am joined, as always, today by Seeker?
Yeah, because there's three people.
4761 and
he's
Colton.
just down there.
Yeah.
and I'm beside you.
Hello, on the bottom.
Huzzah.
Just
And
just
then,
three of us.
of course, I think... Is it
Yep,
that way?
I'm-
Am I correct? Yay! Finally, after 12 episodes, I think I finally have it down. Cody Stratman, also known as Psychonitrous on the forums.
We have forums?
Right.
What forums?
Just
Just random forums?
forums. Just places.
Yeah, places.
Places
Okay.
and things.
Yeah.
So, today's a little special episode. We're recording super late for Colton down there. So, some of us have been awake for going on 16 hours? 18 hours? I've lost count.
See, it's
Sleep
even
is for the
dark
weak.
outside here. It's nighttime.
I know. Dark in Alaska.
It's also,
Craziness.
we're like getting to normal time schedule, so it actually gets dark at like 9:30 now. Or it gets dark at 10, but it starts getting dark. Sunsets at 9:30. Anyway.
Yeah, okay. Well, either way, yes, we're all tired, wired, craziness, and I would like to say cheers to all of you gentlemen.
Hypnotic?
So what is everyone drinking?
Hypnotic?
To be fair, this is all I had in the fucking house. The girlfriend's hypnotic.
He said that was the manliest drink in the house, and then I had to ask,
You
what
weren't
is
supposed
what
to
is
tell
the-
everybody that.
No.
Then you shouldn't have
Hey,
told it to
Christy
me.
drinks
Hypnotic.
Everclear straight.
Just
So that's the girl
she
drink in the
lights it on
house.
fire before she drinks it. This is mine. I lied. It's hypnotic with a Q, a product of France. Blue.
Okay.
Because
Da da dee da da da.
Da-ba-dee-ba-da-da.
you know what? Liquor has to taste good, and this tastes good. So screw you guys. I don't
Yeah,
care.
actually, I agree with that statement. You do you. You know, have that like apple teeny. It tastes awesome.
Which are also delicious.
No, actually, you know, I'm not afraid to have a pink drink or a off-colored orange drink with, you know, the A&W man that either has really big balls or big boobs. Nobody knows. What's one of those?
Oh, I miss A&W here, but that, yeah.
It's funny. Even
Hi.
Not.
oh, what are you drinking? Yeah, what are you drinking?
I have a bottle of wine with my name on it.
Wow,
Literally.
really?
Yeah. My dad makes wine and as a pastime, and it is delicious. So, Dad, if you're watching, thank you. It's
Your daddy's a wino.
no. He makes
Yeah,
wine.
yeah.
Mom and I are the winos.
Yeah, the wino
yeah,
is the
that
person who
makes sense.
drinks it, not the
Yeah.
person who makes it.
Yeah.
That would be
I suppose
He
that's
would
true.
be the venter,
Ooh.
and we would be the
Ooh.
winos.
And I am drinking vodka Smirnoff with NOS energy drink plus orange juice plus
Cody,
strawberry
you
lemonade.
You work
Oh.
tomorrow.
No, I don't. Tomorrow's Saturday.
Oh shit! God, time.
Yeah,
means-
we're-
time
we're-
means
we're
nothing
actually
No,
anymore.
recording on the
tomorrow
wrong
is
day.
Sunday.
No, it's not.
No, it is
Oh.
12:53 a.m. on
For you,
8/29/20
It's
here,
still
so it
Friday
is
here.
Saturday.
we're the
So,
biggest
alright,
state
fair enough.
we choose.
Tomorrow is Sunday.
Not that any
No,
listeners will
we
care.
are not Time Lords. We're not
Because
Time Lords. We don't
Their
get to
timing is all
choose.
different. It's all timey-wimey, wibbly,
True.
wibbly wobbly stuff. Anyways, who cares? Aha! You got it. You got it.
Aha.
Cheers to that.
Yeah. Cheers. All right, so today we have the maximum content for you. Cody is going to answer all of our burning and yearning questions and
Some of them.
entertaining us with a dissertation of the 737 MAX.
I'm curious. Why did
or
you
maybe
put...
not, or maybe not.
Or maybe not.
Ooh.
Is that why you put
Uh,
quotes over the word dissertation in the script?
So actually, I didn't write that. Dracanis
I
took the
did.
liberty. That's part of the host
I think
job,
I've already
you know?
had a glass or two
Yeah,
too many.
yeah,
So
No, it works.
I'm adding quotes to things.
Hey,
It's okay.
he does a good job, so we keep him as the host. That's what happens. So Colton will be telling us that there's a perfect hotel for all of those furries out there, and apparently it's in France.
Hence the
Hypnotic. I think we understand where you got that at the last furry convention. I
To
mean,
be fair,
you do you.
I did not.
That's okay.
I did not intend that. That's
we do not
totally
kink shame.
off the cuff.
Happy accidents. It's a happy little
It's
accident.
a happy little accident. Y'all can just
Or
pay right
on
over it. It's
purpose.
fine. Either
Parlez-vous,
way.
Planned.
parlez-vous
Conspiracy.
français?
Hashtag conspiracy Colton.
Parlez-vous français?
And Brandon is going to, well, I guess tell us about a selfie cam that goes peekaboo. Maybe not in that inflection, but
So you use the Max to get to the convention in France where you drink Hypnotic and then use the camera that goes peekaboo.
Peekaboo selfie cam.
It all ties together.
Yeah. As always. All right, Cody, take us away. Fly us away. Fly me to the moon.
Or maybe not, because
that's not where we're
everything's
going.
grounded. But for multiple reasons with the
Not
Max.
in flight sims.
Yeah, well, they haven't seen you fly yet,
Anyway.
so they haven't grounded you.
they're working
Hey.
on. They're working on.
Actually,
grounding
he's
you.
a better
Buttered
pilot
both
than
my
I am.
landings.
Fair enough. Yep. So the Max. I guess it's most appropriate to start with a little bit of history. So the Max is a 737, which you may have heard those numbers before, because the Max is not the first group of 737s. So there's actually, let's take a gander. Just guess how many different 737, and I'm not going to say like subtypes, just main types of 737 there are. So I'm not saying like, for instance, the Max, there's the Max 8, Max, not that, but first of all, when was the first 737? When was the maiden flight of the first 737? And then secondly...
It's been around for fucking ever.
1960...
I was going to say 50. Maybe not that old. Maybe like 59, 60.
Okay, Brandon's closest. He actually missed it by 2 years. That would be 1967. And
well done.
How many different main types of 737s?
7.
No. So
736.
Okay, and that's probably a bad question because I didn't know how to phrase it. So there's actually 4, including 4 thumb, not there, 4. Anyway, so there was the original 737, which was like the 100 and 200, and then the 737 Classic. So the 737, so like I said, the maiden flight of the original 737 was 1967. Then the 737 Classic, its maiden flight was 1984, I believe, and it was the different variants of that. So depending on the length of a Boeing aircraft, it's which number. So for instance, the 200 is longer than the 100, so it's the same frame, just lengthened. So then they made the 737 Classic, and then they had, honestly, I forget the subtypes of that. So I'm sorry to all the 737 fans out there.
Lightly researched.
Yeah, exactly. Lightly researched.
Y'all have the internet. You go find out.
Exactly. Yeah, Google 737 Classic. And then there was the 737 NG, which stands for Next Generation, which is now the current or previous generation, depending on how you want to look at it. Bad naming schemes, maybe. That's why you don't name each folder new folder, because then it'll be like 10 years later and you'll be like, what is this
God,
new folder?
I'm writing a whole freaking article on corporate naming schemes for products for the Tech Pirate. So don't even get me started on that shit.
Microsoft.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
My first gripe side article, so it's exciting.
And then there's the 737 NGs were maiden flights between 1997 and 2000. So everybody here, if you've been flying when you were young, probably actually flew on a 737 Classic, because 737s are some of the most successful aircraft ever made. And then the 737 NGs, which you've been flying on
Successful
recently.
in what way? What do you mean by successful?
Amount sold, and actually one of the safest aircrafts too, ironically. Then the 737 Maxes, which I think started development in 2011, and then so they came into service 2016 to 2019. Now, a lot of people are like, why do we have so many 737s? And it's pretty much, there's a few reasons. Basically, it's easier to train. The biggest reason is because when you have new pilots, one of the major expenses for them is training them on a new aircraft. You have to be certified for each aircraft type you fly. So if you're certified on a 737 Classic, you're certified on a 737 NG with a light training in between. Basically, not having to have simulator time, which for the 737 MAX would be a problem because there's not many simulators around. And I'll get into why that's going to be an issue a little bit later. So what happened was back in 2011 is Boeing was trying to figure out what aircraft they were going to make next. And the Airbus A320neo started coming out. A neo stands for new engine option. So basically an updated version of the A320 with a...
And
yes.
it is the first commercial airliner to have a side stick rather than a yoke.
That's cool.
Airbus flexing on Boeing.
Yep.
Actually, kind of side tangent.
Kicking them.
Aside from the 747 and the 777, I actually prefer Airbus aircraft to ride on. Like if you take the 787 compared to the A350, which I would say those two are kind of equivalent for like next generation wide body aircraft, the A350 is so much more comfortable, and they don't try to cram an extra seat in it most of the time. So you get to a point where if the aircraft is wide enough, like for instance, the 787 technically is supposed to be 8 seats wide in economy, but a lot of the airlines go, we can kind of, shave a little bit of aisle space, shave a little bit of width off of every seat, and we can fit an extra seat in the row. So that, unfortunately, makes it uncomfortable. JAL, though, will actually fly 8 seats wide, and they actually market that quite a bit. So back to the 737 MAX. What happened was American Airlines wanted a new aircraft, and they didn't want to retrain all of their pilots. So they went to Boeing, and they pretty much told Boeing, we want this aircraft, you will make this aircraft, and we want a new version of the 737. Boeing not necessarily was going to remake the 737 because we're going to get into some of the issues with the MAX here and how they had to compensate. To make a new 737, make it more fuel efficient, they had to add bigger engines. If you look at the 737 NG and you look at it closely, you'll notice that the bottom of the engines on it aren't round. They're kind of, so it's oval with like a little flat spot on the bottom because the 737 is so low to the ground. And that started with the original one way back in the day because it was a feature where you didn't have to have the height to work on the engine or to unload it. It was easier to deal with. Brandon can maybe attest to that. I don't know if 737s flew into Gunnison that often. Yeah, too small of an airport. But that was a really good feature for small, out-of-the-way airports to still get a 737 going in there. The other thing that they wanted with the new 737s was so more fuel-efficient engines, the ability to just have pilots take a very simplified training, no multi-million-dollar simulator training that they have to go into to do that, so they don't have to basically queue for this long training. And I think it was done on an like an iPad for a while for between the 737 NG and the 737 MAX. And then the other thing was the 737 MAX has a little bit of increased range over the 737 NG and more seats, which is really the reason I'm not crazy about the 737 MAX as a person that's going to fly on it. Now, here's what happened. So they had to move the engines forward because they couldn't make bigger engines in the same spot under the wings because there's
due
no
to the
room.
height of the
Exactly.
of the hull of the 737 designed 50 years self
Airframe.
Yeah.
shit, even longer now.
So now,
Over 50 years ago.
rather than the engine being underneath the wing, it had to be moved forward and kind of propped next to the wing. So like I'm doing a terrible job at trying to do hand gestures. So basically it's moved forward
Good for our listeners.
in front of the wing rather than completely underneath the wing. What this did was kind of put the aircraft off balance a little bit. So when you're flying the 737 MAX compared to the NG, it wants to push nose up a little bit. So this is why this thing called ACAS was implemented, which I already forgot what ACAS stands for, but basically what it does is if it senses that the nose is too far up, it pushes it down so your aircraft doesn't stall. Unfortunately, for the people on Line Air Flight 610, this caused a catastrophic issue. So when they were flying, the ACAS system, so it was after takeoff, the ACAS system got implemented. Now there's 2 sensors on this. However, the problem is ACAS will enact if one sensor senses that the aircraft is nosed up too far. Unfortunately, that sensor was was wrong. It was incorrect. So what happened, even though the aircraft was flying like this and not like this, the aircraft decided, oh, we got to right ourselves because it thought it was like this, and it nosed down. The other issue with the 737 that has happened at least since the NG is the stabilizers. So the 737s have they're not fly-by-wire, so it's not computerized. It's physical cables that go from the cockpit to the actual the stabilizers. To the control surfaces. Thank you. And so a lot of the pilots actually prefer this because it gives a more visceral, you feel it when you're flying versus the fly-by-wire nature of the A320 family. However, what happened was because it's doing that dive and there's so much force on that stabilizer, you're then fighting it, and it requires 90 pounds of force to bring the aircraft back to level. So between those two things, you've got a terrible situation in the making. And that's basically what happened to both Lion Air and OneNote keeps locking me out of my notes. So bear with me for 1 second. So it was Lion Air and Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 that both had that issue with MCAS and the stabilizers. The other issue is depending on which Max you get. So they're kind of like airplanes in a way when you buy them, are like cars. So they might have different feature sets. Some of them have heads-up displays, some of them don't. Some of them have different lights, different panels. Not all of them had this light called a disagreement light, which means that one of the sensors has detected that you're flying like this, and one of the sensors is going, no, you're normal. So that's...
Wait. Are you saying that the Max had multiple sensors of this?
Yes.
I thought that was one of the issues.
No,
from my limited knowledge. I thought it had only one.
Has two. Unfortunately, MCAS...
Vortex is one.
Exactly. That's the problem, is MCAS will enable off of one sensor. So if one sensor is wrong, exactly, you have redundancy, and then you take the redundancy away.
What's the point?
Yep.
The hell is the point of having two fucking... I honestly did not know that. I thought it was just because they only put in one stupid sensor. But they put in two, and then they didn't fucking build a system. They didn't actually utilize the hardware that they had.
Yeah,
are you
software?
serious?
Yeah, it was a software programming problem. So, I mean, there's issue with the stabilizers, but usually, so there's one of my favorite podcasts. Again, I'm going to do the shout out to the Dots, Lines, and Destinations podcast, and also AvTalk.
DLD.
They both mention this, is when an airplane crashes, it's not one thing that goes wrong. It's never one thing. It's a series of failures, like poor maintenance causes this, which causes this, which causes, maybe there's a pilot misjudgment in there as well, that causes these things to happen in a cascading scenario. So because they had the two sensors, then the issue with the rear stabilizer. So here's another anecdote, is on the Lion Air crash, the flight before that plane crashed, there was actually a similar MCAS issue, but one of the pilots, there was actually a pilot riding in the jump seat that was able to rectify it before it got out of control. And unfortunately, that just didn't get passed on to the new flight crew. So that pilot had been trained on it with this training that they had on their iPads, where the other pilots had not taken the training because, hey, it's basically a new 737. So again, cascading scenario. Poor training, no disagreement light, which basically says, hey, this sensor's reporting this, but this sensor's reporting this. So they're basically going into a nosedive and not knowing why this is happening, how to correct it, and they're trying to do it quickly while losing altitude quickly. So
I'm confused about I think maybe you kind of said it, but so you're saying some of the planes that were delivered by Boeing did not have a disagreement light based on
different models,
why?
Different, like when you buy a car, you get different trim packages. It's essentially similar things. Like they all have to have a certain amount of safety features, but this wasn't a safety feature that was mandated. I believe it's by the FAA to each delivered aircraft. So they were saying two sensors was enough, and the fact that they have MCAS
so it's
is enough.
Based on I guess whoever ordered the plane, they didn't request this.
Yeah,
because I'm assuming the airline knew about that disagreement light, like that was an option. Going with your analogy of a trim package,
I don't have any data that proves that, but I would imagine that they do. Lion Air is a low-cost airline, so they're probably trying to save money wherever they can. And that's nothing against Lion Air. It's just, the nature of the industry.
Their business model.
Yeah. Then the same thing basically happened with the Ethiopian Airlines flights. And now I don't know if you guys remember this, but what country was the first country to ground the 737 MAX?
I remember it being definitely not a regular country you would expect it. Was it Iran?
No. So technically they were grounded in Ethiopia, but really the grounding of all of them came from China first. Which pushed the policy. So what happened was the US kind of lagged behind rather than usually being one of the first countries to ground aircraft, which made people lose faith in the FAA. And also, Boeing kept going back and forth. There was actually a point where Boeing called the president and goes, this aircraft is safe, when clearly there's some issues with it. So the reason why this has taken so long to get back in the air is because now it's not just the FAA making the calls and all the other countries' safety organizations going, hey, we'll just follow the lead of the FAA. Each one of the other countries actually wants to have a say in it as well, to have it certified with their own personnel. Matter of fact, this week, Canada is doing test flights on the 737 MAX. Now, here's why I keep alluding to, I will tell you about the 737 MAX or not, is because several times in this grounding that first occurred, I'm trying to remember if it's been so long now. Was it 2019 or 2000? I think it was 2019.
It was 80 years ago.
Was it like
in
I
the
can't
year
remember if it was
2019.
18. But during that time period, so Ryanair at one point put in an order for some 737 MAXs, but the paint job on one or two of them, rather than saying 737 MAX 8, it just said 737-8. So like they were taking the name MAX out of it. And there's an airline in Europe that just put in an order for two of them, and when they referred to it, that same terminology came up where they didn't use the word MAX in it. So they
is that a PR decision?
Possibly. So here's the issue, is there's a lot of members of the public. Most of the public has no clue what aircraft they're flying on. They're like, oh, aircraft, like how many aisles does it have? Maybe. They might know that. Like, I used to be that way. I used to be like, this is a boring plane. It's not an F-16. Like, I only care about fighter jets. But since then, I've learned more. But most of the public doesn't care. But when you say MAX, the public knows. The public's going to look for that on their boarding pass, on their itinerary, and go, this is a MAX, I'm not flying on it. A matter of fact, there were several instances of that happening between the two crashes. So after the Lion Air crash and when the airplane was grounded, when people were like, I'm not flying on this airplane. And I forget what happened, if the airlines, said okay or whatever. I don't recall, since that was such a long time ago at this point. But people are,
so many years
ago.
ago.
People are aware of, like, generations because of 2020. Who knows? But people are aware of MAX. Now, the side effect of this, of why they should keep the name, in my opinion, is if people think a little bit, this, by the time it's done with, the 737 MAX is going to be the safest aircraft in history. because
that's another thing.
every organization is going to go over it with a fine-tooth comb. The software updates that they're going to do, they're actually redoing the wiring in part of it as part of the I forget the terminology again.
Certification?
No, there's a terminology for grounding and updates that they have to do to the aircraft. But as part of that, they have to do there's quite a few things, and some of them are physical to the airplane. So even though most of it is like the control panel, they have to have that disagreement light, and they have to make some changes to the actual cockpit displays so the pilots know that. Part of the training
the changes...
also, sorry, give me 1 second. Part of the changes also are that the pilots are going to have to go through full simulator training. So all of the money American Airlines was pushing for this new for Boeing to build this new aircraft to save money is going out the window, and they're going to have to pay for it anyway. So is this Boeing?
If anyone is selling one of the old 737 simulators
well, if anybody has a Max
for cheap,
if anybody has a Max simulator,
real
they're
cheap.
about to make buku money. Because you've got pretty much one of the most popular types of aircraft that you're going to have pilots lined up for. Now, luckily, this is one of the positive things about COVID, is they're going to have time to do that because all of them are grounded for multiple reasons. So, anyway, what were you saying before I interrupted you, Colton?
Well, I was going to say, so the actual changes, they're not... You mentioned earlier that one of the changes between the Max and the NG was the fact that they physically moved the actual engine to actually change the flight characteristics of the actual aircraft. So there's not any major hull changes for, I guess,
the safety update.
In terms of the safety, is it just pretty much software and little hardware changes like that?
Correct.
That, disagreement light. There's not any. They're still saying that the plane itself is
a safe aircraft.
Is a safe aircraft. It's how the pilot interacts with the plane. That's where the discrepancy is right now.
So
or was
they're resolving the issues that the aircraft had, like the. Why am I wanting to say aileron rather than the stabilizer? Yeah,
elevator.
So they're changing those. They're changing some of the the uppy downy part, the part that goes woo woo.
Elevator.
Yeah. Thank you, Trent.
No, uppy downy.
I've been drinking.
It's okay.
Yeah. Uppy downy.
Uppy downy part.
But so they're changing that. They're changing the way that the pilot interacts with the aircraft, or at least sees warnings and notifications. They're changing the training, so all of the pilots are going to be fully versed on this new type of aircraft and not going, hey, you're certified on the 737 NG. Sure, take a few hours of training on your iPad and you're certified on the 737 MAX. Nope, you're going to have to go
take
into
a 20-minute course on your iPad and you'll be fine.
Yeah, you're going to have to go into a physical, simulator that also simulates uppy downy stuff. And hey, one of those simulators is, I think, in Fiji. So, everybody's going to want to go to Fiji. So if you're a 737 MAX pilot, maybe good times ahead. Who knows? Although COVID, so you're probably not, this isn't really good times right now. I was
going to say, just study up on the uppy downy part. You'll be fine.
Yep, uppy downy, very important.
Uppy and downy.
So,
I'm just doing it for Brandon's reaction at this point.
Yeah. MCAS. Since you didn't know couldn't remember what it was, I looked it up because I'm a nerd. Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System.
So basically make the 737 MAX fly like a 737 NG.
Kind of. Do you know the first aircraft that system was actually deployed on by Boeing?
Ooh.
Was it
the fact that you said by Boeing threw me a little bit.
Well, it's a Boeing system. So
Okay, because I figured maybe some of the tail engine aircraft might have those. Huh. Give me a year.
87? 787?
2011.
Colton might be right, actually, then. But I wouldn't think that it would have to be on a 787. I don't know.
It's got to be on
I'll
the
give you a
jumbo.
hint. Military.
Oh, the freaking... Is it Boeing? What's the one that Boeing made? The Lightning? No, they didn't make that. That's Lockheed.
No. I don't know.
The KC-48 Air Force tanker.
So what frame? Because isn't that like a 777?
67.
Oh, 767. Okay. Huh.
Yep.
Huh.
Interesting. So
that
they
actually makes sense. They would have to
Oh, because it
build
changes
something like that into.
characteristics
It
as
completely changes everything of it.
Mid-flight.
Depending on if it's full or not. Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
So actually, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the firefighting aircraft have MCAS too, because you go
Or something similar,
from full payload to empty in a matter of seconds. Okay, that's intriguing.
At ground level, yeah. Oh.
I wonder if they have a disagreement light on them.
Military wouldn't pay for that.
We just don't hear
Not in the
about
budget.
No, but they'd train their people better.
Yeah, that's probably the case. But anyway, unless you guys have more questions about the MAX or the 737-8, depending on what we get, Colton, I think it might be time to tell us about the furries in France and a wonderful hotel that we can all go to once, we're not all disease-ridden. We don't have the fleas.
What's the fleas, the COVID, the max in the air, and
Human malware.
God damn, like it was 2018 when they grounded the max, and that literally seems like a lifetime ago. That's so
okay. That's why I was wondering if it was 2018 or 2019 because it felt so. I can't tell.
That's all right.
Time.
I've gotten on your phone you get if you use Google Photos or OneDrive or anything like that, like look at what you were doing 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and it's like, no, surely that was longer. That couldn't have been just last year that we were doing this. Oh,
a random
really
size thing, just because of the mask thing. Like, I don't know if you guys have dealt with this, but have you watched something on TV or on Netflix or whatever, and part of you is like, that person should be wearing a mask right now. Just it's not, but in your head you're like, it's that weird safety thing, and I don't know. Just I wonder if it was just me, but I've just been seeing that a lot. I'm like, that guy should have a mask. Oh wait, it's a freaking movie. Of course. Why? Yeah. From before. Yeah, doesn't matter.
I know somebody who's all about the face shield, and she tried to drink a cup of coffee with a face shield on.
Sort right here.
Just like clonk, clonk.
I'll drink to that.
Indeed. Blue to yellow.
Y'all, you guys haven't drank once so far in this podcast. I've been watching. Brandon, get a drink.
I'm almost finished.
Go get another one.
My bottle is dry.
Go get another one.
This is glass number 4. I think I'm good. I'm kind of ready to fall asleep in my chair, except the interesting conversations.
See, you gotta mix NOS with your wine.
No.
You gotta put an upper and a downer in there.
Attack.
You'll be fine.
Come on.
With my family history, that would just be heart attack. No.
Well, I guess I'll
So
tell.
furries.
Let me tell you guys a story. So I was browsing the internet, Reddit, because
Story time.
So I was on Reddit last week or so, and I came across an article titled "The 15 Craziest Hotels in the World." So with us Americans on a hopefully temporary international travel ban, I decided to try to remember the before times and actually read the article and figure out what's going on.
Is the one in Taiwan on there? The gaming hotel in Taiwan?
No, but I was
should
going to
be.
ask, what are the craziest hotels you guys know of? I know the gaming one. I want to go to the gaming one with the hotel in Taiwan that is completely designed for gamers with high-speed internet, highest quality equipment, just amazing.
The other one,
I know of that one only because of Linus.
Burj Al Arab. Well, that's probably the most expensive hotel I know of. Ooh, the underwater one, also in Dubai. There's one in Maldives, I think, that actually has like an underwater either dining room or club. That I want to go to.
What's
see.
funny is none of the ones you said are on this list. So those are pretty crazy, but they didn't make this list.
Damn.
There's a castle in Scotland that you can rent by the night.
I think we all need to get together and
thing
go to
you do in Scotland.
Scotland.
So,
I want to do that.
oh, that'd be awesome. So, a few of them I learned about. Learned about a hotel that's built into a former salt and a silver mine, like built into a former mine, with the actual walls are made of the salt.
Can you mine material while you're there?
Theoretically. I don't know. You probably wouldn't want to because everyone else did it, but yes. Learned of a hotel.
Just take a little sandpaper, scrape it off, and start licking the walls.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Sounds great.
Says the man who actually had a salt block that he would lick daily. True story.
Wasn't a salt block. It was a salt lamp. It's much smaller now.
It's way better. It had electricity going through it. It's fine. I also learned of a hotel that's been built into like a haunted former Soviet prison. Ooh. So like a former gulag, I guess.
That would be perfect for Charlie.
Yeah.
/ Mjolnir.
Friend of the show, Mjolnir, Charlie. I'm sure you guys have heard of those temporary ice hotels that are built in like Finland that really are only there for like 2 months out of the year. So Cody would know. I mean, don't you live in an igloo?
Clearly. Is it not obvious? Come on.
It looks like it. It's fine. But those all seem tame compared to number one on this list. And this hotel is called La Villa Hamster.
La Villa Hamster.
Or La Villa Hamster. I don't speak French. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Based on that name, what do you guys think the hotel is?
That you get to pretend you're a hamster in a hamster ball or something?
Cody, you ding ding ding. You win the prize. Have a drink.
Yay! Pass me some hypnotic. Above your head.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, it changed color. The glass is different. Oh, well.
So, this particular hotel opened in 2009 in Nantes, France. I think that's how you say the name. And it was designed by a couple of random guys, a scenographer and a interior designer. The website for this hotel asks the question, is it possible to put myself in the place of my hamster? That is the real tagline on that website, by the way.
Oh.
So.
Wait, okay, I'm just saying that the space hotel that is in development didn't make it on that list?
Did not.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay. There's some really weird ones.
This
stay
one in space for a night or two.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean
awesome.
to steal the thunder of it. I just
forgot
about that one.
I want to say this hotel started compared like the number one on this list. This hotel compared to the other ones like is so far out. I'm wondering if it actually pushed designers to go for more of an experience than just a 5-star hotel. Because and I'll get to it a little later, but so. All right, so this hotel, built in 2009, gives its guests the unique opportunity to be a rodent for the night. Is built in a building that's from the 1700s and comes equipped with containers full of organic grain food pellets, a bathroom with a big vat full of wood chips, a giant water spigot that you activate with the lever with your foot, and of course the hamster wheel, a 2-meter working hamster wheel that just brings it all together for the full experience.
Wait, so you don't lick the ball that then gives you water?
I don't think you'd want
That's
to, because some of the
disappointing.
people that go to this,
Disappointing.
I don't know. Plus, you could also sleep on, like, you can crawl up this little area and sleep on a little haystack, or you could sleep in a bed. Like, it's pretty awesome, actually. I want to try it.
I would go
probably
there
for
a
like
night.
4 hours.
2
I don't know
nights.
if I could. I don't think I could do it.
You got
I
to do
don't know.
it for 2 nights because you have a full day if you do it for 2 nights.
But it's one of those things of the novelty for me would wear off really fast.
I know.
But it'd be really
but
cool
then you'll
to
want
do
to
for
do
one
something
night.
else. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So apparently, this hotel was incredibly popular with the media, interested tourists, and furries, of course, because we all know furries love to be people, love to be animals, not people. They're not people. They are not people. We're establishing that now. Apologies to our large furry audience.
Wait, wouldn't that be kind of what they're aiming for, though? So I mean, that's actually
I think
a compliment.
the sexual deviant furries are kind of like a byproduct thing. I don't think they were the intended audience. So the hotel does
They
know.
just wanted you to be able to empathize with your hamster.
Exactly.
When
And of
its
course, you can bring your
wheel
hamster to the
gets
hotel.
squeaky.
They are encouraged to be brought. So, so the kind of interesting little fact: the hotel actually plays this up, of course, because it's a freaking hamster cage. They actually give out hamster masks and tails to every patron that come in. So even if you're don't have the full-on hamster suit, you can still feel like a hamster.
How do you attach the tail?
You don't want to know. I didn't. To be fair, that's a lie. I didn't get that far.
Oh.
Thanks, Hypnotic.
Oh.
They want to sponsor a podcast.
Send us all bottles.
So, pretty crazy. So the designers of this hotel have actually come up with some other ideas, and they're actually in the process of building. The most interesting one that I found was actually they want to design a hotel that simulates a womb. So people can get back to their origins, as they say. Apparently, it's a big. I mean, Cody, you travel. It's one thing to stay in a nice. You're right. That's what. Some year we'll be back to it, but it seems like at least in Europe in particular, they seem to they play off the novelty hotel experience. The actual hotel is the destination. And people they're booked up. No, not right now, but they're booked up full all time. Like they never have vacancy, and it only costs 150 euros a night. So
that's cheap from what I've heard from Europe. I can actually speak to this a little bit minorly. So I'm all about like trying to get the most points and stuff for airlines. With hotels, I have made status with Bonvoy simply out of random chance, but otherwise I am not like I don't have my allegiance to any hotel chain because I want to find the coolest looking hotel. I actually really like the boutique, like just really cool style hotels that have their own art style, their own just like awesomeness to them. I'm a big fan of that. So I mean, hamster. I would do it for 2 nights because you get a full day.
I would try it for one night. I really do think. I think it's full on hamster habitat situation. Like, the novelty would wear off really fast for me, but I think it would be fun for one night.
You don't
But after that, I'd be
know.
like,
you
I
haven't
need.
spend time at a hamster you might love it. You
You're
might
right.
be like
I
in that
might
hamster
I might be a
wheel and
secret.
just like, oh, this is
Oh
the
my god!
best.
I could run for hours right in my own hotel
And I
room.
don't
This is
go
great.
anywhere.
It's like a treadmill, but better.
Yeah, I was about to
Better.
say, hamsters probably look at us on treadmills and go, huh, we're going to
guys are
get
fools.
a gym hotel for hamsters.
So it was pretty cool. Like there's a lot of articles just on that are not reviewing it seriously because it sounds like a joke, but it's real. It's the Hamster Hotel in France. Book it.
Sponsor us,
I don't know.
Hamster Hotel.
La Via Hamster.
With flights on a 737 MAX when they become
Yeah, it'll be the
available.
world's safest airplane.
Exactly. Well, I think we need to bring it back to semi-normalcy, maybe. Brandon, tell us about that selfie cam that has issues with object permanence.
peekaboo.
Peekaboo.
Okay, so I think it was 2 or 3 episodes back we briefly touched on behind screen selfie cameras.
Oh, yeah.
So ZTE has kind of not announced, but they have announced that there will be an announcement on September 1st.
Is that like a roadmap for a roadmap?
Yeah, basically.
It's like going the Star Citizen route, eh?
It's kind of like a, hey, teaser, we're going to be doing this. You should check out, September 1st when we actually formally announce it and give specs and stuff. But the ZTE Axon 20 5G is going to be the first commercially available phone with a under screen or under display selfie camera.
Huh.
That's pretty cool.
Are you saying
Yeah.
the notch and the punch out are dead?
The notch is dead.
Finally.
And I really hope that the hole punch camera dies too. I do not
Whole punch
enjoy
camera. So like
it. Yeah.
just that or
No, have you-
No. Here, hold on.
yeah, I'm
I open something that's all
eager to see what this is.
white.
Get rid of the furry porn.
And I'm eager to see like the performance
Yeah.
on the underscreen camera to see if there's like any noticeable aspect of it.
Well, kind of going off of the performance idea. Oops, almost knocked over my hypnotic.
Oh, you don't want Smurf juice everywhere.
Feels good going down my throat. Anyways,
Okay, so if you can see,
it's a little,
that little black dot right there is technically a hole punch camera in the.
Okay.
This is the Note 10 Plus.
full
And there's a mode, and I've got the mode activated, which is why I had to actually look for a way to make it show that I've got that top bar just blacked out. That way the notifications are there, but I don't constantly see the hole punch camera. Because for a while when I had the white mode or whatever, it was very visible all the time. And full screen videos and stuff, if it's actually a wide enough aspect ratio, it's very noticeable on videos.
annoying as hell.
But yeah, it's.
Well, like going back to the.
I mean, eventually you get over it.
I'm sure. But going back to the performance aspect, if you think about the fingerprint sensors, I mean, this is a OnePlus 5T with an actual hard ceramic fingerprint sensor, considered one of the fastest at the time when it came out. I think they've started to switch to. I was gonna say, isn't that a optic one?
Oh, on screen.
Ultrasonic.
Ultrasonic, that one.
Well, which there we
See,
go.
as cool as all of those are, I still prefer my fingerprint sensor right there on the power button. because it's easy to grab.
Yep.
It's natural. I grab my phone like that, and then I, unlock it with that.
I mean, honestly, that's why you do, like, if you have earbuds hooked up to it or a watch hooked up to it and Bluetooth, and you just tell it, trust it if I have it there.
Yeah, or if
So
it's
the only times
in
I
your
ever
car
actually
or whatever.
use the fingerprint, yeah, only times I ever use the fingerprint are for banking apps and stuff like that. It's just oh yeah, I need to authenticate, and it's just right
I don't
there.
know, I've used my mom's phone. I just still don't like the placement of the fingerprint ones compared to the side of the phone.
I don't know. Putting right back here, like, that's super.
I guess
I mean,
that wouldn't
it
be
takes.
bad.
I don't think I could
Yeah,
do
the
this.
Asus Zen phone I had it on the back, and I got used to that really quick. I've gotten used to under screen really quick too, but I do miss. I had the Nextbit Robin, which is what
The Razer phone's built off of.
Razer
So
purchased.
it's basically this, just more bendy.
Yeah, more plastic.
Well, how is ZTE? Have they said how they're going to, I guess, make this happen
There
with the
is
actual
no
screen?
real. Yeah, so I mean, the basic principle of it is that rather than having actual copper behind all of the OLED pixels, because this is going to be a OLED display, they've basically got a kind of a clear layer that is electronically compatible, I guess, and that's how they're going to be able to. They're going to shoot through the material, and of course, there's going to be some data loss.
OLED.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so the actual OLEDs themselves are, I guess,
Clear.
Clear. Okay, that makes sense.
Now there will be some smudging and stuff like that, and they're basically, because it's a known pattern, they're going to be able to remove that and kind of remove the noise from that picture, just using, basically a filter or a built-in algorithm to remove that from every image. So there has been, I didn't pull that up, but there's another company that is saying, yes, well, we're going to do this, but we're going to do it better because we're using smaller pixels in this area. So rather than having a noticeable depreciation of image quality over this sensor area, it's going to be less noticeable because of smaller pixels and more space between the pixels, which I don't.
That doesn't make sense.
Don't get. Yeah.
I mean, it's
But
ZTE.
it'll be
I'm sure it's
interesting.
not going to be a horribly expensive phone. Maybe upper mid tier. You think? ZTE doesn't really.
The leaks.
ZTE's main market would be Asia, and
So I was going to say mid tier,
Yeah.
mid tier lower. So, but this is a new technology, and the first is always the most
I'm
expensive.
sure there's going to be a premium on that.
But I doubt it's going to be an iPhone or Windows.
It's still not
going
to be. It's not going to be like upper flagship level. Theoretically, just based on ZTE's history.
If I were to bet, I would guess that this is probably going to come in at around the $600 point, 600 USD. Just a guess. We'll see. Let's see. The first is Tuesday, so this upcoming Tuesday is when their press event is, and that's when we'll know, processor and RAM and full specs, and get to see an actual live demo of the screen. I doubt it.
It's dead, Cody. We know that.
But speaking of other technology, so I don't think I've ever mentioned it on this podcast. I am a pretty big ebook reader. I've got a Oasis
that's a small ebook.
I use a ton.
I wouldn't say you're a big ebook reader.
Well, you know what I mean. But I mean, I love reading on an ebook. It's easier on my eyes. I do get pretty chronic migraines, and it helps to not be staring at
you can't
all
be
day
reading on a true e-ink kind of setup.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
Versus a tablet, like a color TFT or LCD or LED or OLED tablet. Yeah. But there are now 2 color ebook readers available.
Does that not defeat the purpose?
No. Because it is a color e-ink display.
Okay.
So what? The text is in rainbow.
256 color.
Yeah, I
10-bit.
actually don't know. Oh, no. 4,096 colors.
Oh, okay. Was that 16-bit or something?
Why?
I don't know. Comic books and manga, primarily.
That makes perfect fucking sense. Yeah, graphic novels.
Now I want one.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yep.
You sold me already.
Don't get this version though. So modern
I don't want it anymore.
modern e-ink readers have a pixel density of 300 pixels per inch. Okay? Makes all of your black and white images and
I got
your
a
text
beef.
just look super crisp. Okay. Beef.
All right. I hate the pixels per inch metric. Like, absolutely detest. Because it doesn't matter. What matters is resolution and screen size. Because you can figure that out based off of resolution and screen size. Like,
you can figure it out based on the per.
No, because you don't know. If you don't know how many by how many, if you know how many by how many by size, you can figure out all the other metrics. If you only know pixels per inch, it could be this big, but this wide. Or, it doesn't matter if it's 50 million pixels per inch, but the screen is that big.
I thought the standard is based on a square inch, isn't it?
It is. Square inch. 1 square inch. So here is why. So I used to agree with you to some extent that it didn't matter. But here's why I actually think it matters when you're talking about a display technology rather than an actual specific display. When you are talking a display technology. So if you think about how current TVs are made, they do not, make a 32-inch screen. They make a base screen that is, 400 inches, and then from there cut out their displays. So when you're talking about a display technology, it's important to know your pixels per inch to understand what kind of definition you can get out of a 7-inch screen or an 8-inch screen or a 32-inch screen.
Okay, I will concede that makes sense, but that doesn't make sense for most people. When they are actively buying something that...
Bigger numbers mean better, supposedly.
This is how you get Microsoft numbering. Let's just do everything in Roman numerals and confuse everyone.
Oh, let's not.
As long as it's standard, I'm just quit changing it.
As long as file systems could actually handle it, I guess I would be okay with Roman numerals. But most file systems just screw Roman numerals up. So, anyway, 300 pixels per inch on a modern e-ink display, which gives you very crisp looking text that looks like it is, printed rather than just pixels on a screen that kind of look like the letter T. So the problem is these color displays, because each pixel has to have now, rather than just a single pixel that can turn from black to white, it has to have a black to white and then a red, green, blue. So you go from a 300 pixel per inch density down to 100 pixels per inch density. And it basically makes it to where if you are reading standard text, it is not so great. And even the color stuff, like, it's great because it's color and you can get more context out of your comics and manga.
But it's like old-timey typewriter, color.
Yeah.
Which fun side tangent.
Basically,
our keyboards are the way they are because they're the least efficient way of typing, not the most efficient way of typing. And we just
well, the QWERTY standard.
Yes, the QWERTY is the least.
There
efficient.
there are other standards that are actually
Dvorak.
much. That's one. There's another one that starts with an A too, that are more efficient. Back considering, well, sorry.
I also learned today. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm hijacking your topic, and I apologize. Okay, go forth. Spread
That's
your,
the drink. Party foul.
Spread your pixels per inch.
Party foul. I'll drink to that.
Party foul, guys.
All right. So
don't drink and drive.
Yeah, basically it's. Yeah. Nope. I am at home. I only have to stumble 25 feet that way. Basically, it's a really interesting first attempt at color e-ink. I think once they can get the subpixels kind of shrunk down to bring the pixel density up, which will then increase the amount of resolution that a certain size tablet will have, I think that's when it'll get a little more interesting, and I might start looking closer at some of those devices. But for the cheapest option right now is Pocketbook's Color e-ink reader, which is $229 and is a 6-inch display. And
like, it seems like, because now I'm thinking about the comic books, graphic novel, like, that's a very niche market. I don't know.
I think that's becoming more and more acceptable and mainstream.
Well, but I mean,
manga especially is becoming more mainstream.
I guess on a world stage, but most people, and maybe tell me if I'm wrong, it seems like most people who actually are interested in an e-reader are generally older people who might.
You calling me old?
You're older than I am. Yes.
Fair point.
Younger than me, though. So
older people and Brandon. So,
yeah.
I don't know. It just, I guess it's a new market, and I'm sure they could probably, if they market it correctly, they could build a customer base from that. But I don't see it growing to the point where it becomes commercially viable. I don't know. It's just my opinion on it. When generally, like our generation, most of us are okay reading comics or any sort of thing on a regular display.
Basically, Seeker, you're saying that this could be the 3D
Kindle
TV
idea
of the e-ink reader world.
Yeah, it could either spur a revolution, or more like, I'm thinking it'll just be a niche market and it will just kind of fizzle out. Like I said, because they're competing with the Kindle and the Nook and all these other. Granted, they're not e-ink. Yep. Well, Nook has them, but they're not competing with full HD. All that shit. They're not competing with that, or they are competing with that. Excuse me.
I would say worst case scenario, it's going to be one of those technologies like SLI, where the company, like, so it's a different company that's making this. It's not Kindle. It's something.
Correct.
Okay.
So they're the two that are making it are Pocketbook and Onyx, which Onyx is actually a pretty big name in third-party reader devices.
Okay, but
I guess it's like
I think worst case scenario, this is going to be like SLI, where it's going to be a random company that makes it, 3DFX, by the way, and it will kind of go away for a little bit, and then 5 years down the road, one of the main companies is going to pick that up and make it more mainstream. So maybe it's a technology.
Like we've said about technology, it's.
I don't think it's going to be the 3D TV.
Well, think about it. If you can make these displays cheap enough, you could theoretically sell them. Like, if you look at most of the the sci-fi, near future sci-fi TV and movies and stuff, you end up having these foldable paper-like displays that don't seem to have much of a battery, don't seem to have much capability beyond displaying the text that they're pre-programmed with. You have these very cheap but reusable displays. And I think that's where this kind of technology could eventually go to, because in order to have, robust advertisement, which is what's going to primarily, drive sales of those, flimsy devices, is advertisement. You need color for it to be able to pop.
That's a good point. The annoyance will pave the way.
It's all about the initial, the first wave of people that buy it. If there's enough interest, they'll develop the technology and make it cheaper. That's we've said in past podcasts. We've said the VR, for example, like if you get past those initial hiccups and it gets mainstream,
and you bring the barrier of entry low enough.
By the way, I forgot to mention this in the last episode. So something interesting that I swear this will only be 30 seconds.
You're timed. Here we go.
Because we're already going a little bit late here.
Dude, it's a party.
Facebook has changed Oculus, and now you will require a Facebook login for the Oculus headsets. Yep. So I'm just super happy that I went with Vive and Valve Index instead of the Facebook route.
Just give your data over to Facebook, bro. What could possibly go wrong giving your data to an evil multinational?
Enjoy the tentacle cuddle.
Yeah.
Get the F
the
and
tentacle. What is that? What's that Futurama? The tentacle is love.
Yes.
Also, I learned today, another side topic, when you load a trailer and transport beams, that you want most of the weight between the hitch and the axle and not after the axle. Otherwise, the trailer will start to do this wobbly thing. Yeah, don't do that. So that's a mini, this week I'm learning. Yeah, don't.
That's our safety section by Psycho.
Yep. And normally I'm not a stickler on safety. Normally it's one of those things like, do what you want, you'll figure it out. Life is more interesting that way. Anyway, unless we have more things to debate about, Brandon, would you be so kind to...
I am tired. Whose dumb idea was it to do this so late?
Energy drink.
Oh, jeez, I don't know, Colton.
Whoever he was,
I don't know.
He was
Colton.
He was a goddamn. I would say he's a damn idiot. Although the drinking part, the
drinking made it better.
I'm not saying it's going to be a theme, but you know what? I think for our special episodes, we should definitely consider adding a little.
12? Everybody does things with multiples of 10. Let's be base 12 here.
We're base 12 here on TWIL.
What was
12
that?
on TWIL.
Like the Battlefield Earth aliens were base 12, or no, they were base 11.
Cyclo.
Yeah, we're not good. We're not going to be Scientologists though. Not Scientologists. But it was a fun book. It was a good book. Way better than the movie. Anyway, I keep bringing up more mini topics. I'm so sorry. Save us. That's why you're the host.
Okay. I am Brandon Vader. You can find me on thetechpirate.net, on YouTube as The Tech Pirate, and as TTP_net on Twitter. Ooh. Cody, where can we find you?
You can find me in my igloo, clearly. I am also... I'm pretty sure I'm Zito Valder on Twitter, which I never really look because it's Twitter. I don't know. Psychonitrous pretty much on all gaming platforms. I don't know, say hi, whatever. And also Striving to Fail on YouTube, where I keep promising to make another video, but I haven't yet. So I'm just a liar at this point. But
You're
I
committed.
will be. My drone stuff is coming in kind of this weekend, and it's a complication because one of the companies in Florida thinks that 3-day shipping is apparently 2 weeks because they're going by days off of Barrow. I don't live in Barrow. It doesn't count. USPS.
It's just the time dilation of
Doesn't
2020, Cody. It's still 3 days.
Because one of the orders from Florida is correct with 3 days. The other one is not. Come on. And
Damn you, Florida.
yeah, that's where you can find me, or ranting about random stuff. Who knows?
And
Colton, what about you?
I am Colton Roper. You can I'm a contributor to the techpirate.net. One of these years I will actually finish that article. So stay tuned for that. You can find me on Twitch and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, all under the same Seeker4761, some variation of that.
How many gallons of hypnotic he has?
Dude, I'd be dead.
Has had.
I would be. As I told Brandon earlier, it is the manliest string of the house. So, what does that?
It is
what does that
blue.
mean for me?
Blue's a very
Takes a
like
real-
boy color. I don't know.
Takes a real man to drink this fruity,
True.
delicious.
You have to
French
fight
drink.
off all the girls afterwards. I don't know.
Delicious.
Well, thank you all for joining us on this episode of This Week I'm Learning. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as on YouTube at This Week I'm Learning. For your social media peeps out there, you can find us on Twitter under @ThisTWIL. If you'd like to contact us, you can send an email to twill@thetechpirate.net. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and we will see you next
Have
week.
a wonderful week,
Bye.
regardless.
Yeah.
You don't have to contact us. Just
It's really your choice if you have a good week at this point.
oh, true. You can have a bad week. All right.